Let's make another phone call.
Hello.
Hey, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good, thank you. So, called to ask you about the decals you're working with.
All right. Want me to talk a little bit about them and how they came to be?
Yes.
All right, you got it.
So when we purchased Shearwater, we knew that this was a boat that we would be keeping for a long time, so we wanted to do something special for the transom vinyl. So I volunteered to make a design that we would then send off to a vinyl place and get custom made for the back of our boat. This is actually a really easy thing that a lot of people can do, so I'm going to show you my process, and hopefully it can help you if you ever decide to do custom vinyl in the future. So first I had to measure the transom. The transom on Shearwater is actually pretty small because it's a swept transom and there's the swim ladder. So between the size of the transom and then all the stuff on the transom, there wasn't all that much room for the design. Hence why I created one where the word is arched like this, and Old Saybrook is offset because the edge of the transom was kind of right here, and I didn't want it to get cut off. So I love this program. It's called Canva. It's free. Of course, if you want some fancier images, you have to pay like $1 for them, which I don't have any qualms about. I paid for this design, or I should say just the image of the bird and the fish when I made our custom t-shirts, because what is a racing boat without some fun t-shirts? I was so jealous of all the other boats. So if we go into my design here, what I did was I made the canvas size the size of the open area on the transom, and then I just fit the design inside. So you can look for images here on the side, you can add text, there's backgrounds. It's really easy to use, and again, it's free and online. And then when you're done, you can download your image as a PDF, because if you are sending this off to a custom vinyl place, they're going to want it in some sort of vector format where if they enlarge it, it doesn't get all grainy, and a PDF will do that. So you can just download it as a PDF, and then you are ready to mail it off, or email it off to whatever vinyl place is doing your custom vinyl work. I ended up ordering our vinyl from a place in Massachusetts called Vinyl Approach. Would recommend. They were really professional, really nice, and they got my design to me very quickly. It also was very reasonably priced, I thought. So thank you, Vinyl Approach. And here's what it looked like. It came on this tube, and it's on this paper backing. So when it is time to apply this vinyl, it's going to be really, really easy. I won't have to line up each piece myself. I can just lay this on the back of the boat and peel off like the sticker back. So of course I can't just stick the decals on the back of the transom, because right now the old decals are still on there. So I have to scrape off the decals. I've been just using like a razor blade and my fingernails, and it's worked just fine. Then this place recommends cleaning off any residue using acetone and then soap and water. You don't want to have wax on there, because then your vinyl isn't going to stick right. Once the space is totally clean, then you can apply the vinyl. You want to squeegee it on in one direction, all that jazz. And then they warn against it being too hot, so we're actually going to have to probably do this pretty soon because it is pretty warm outside. So anyways, that is our vinyl story. Thanks for sticking it out, and I'll see you next time.
Last weekend this place was mobbed. Today it's completely empty, and it's midday. Maybe it's the weather. It's a little bit of a lull right now, but the wind's been howling and the boat has been shaking, which is an interesting experience when it's on stand sitting on land. it's not very comforting. So I ran the hose up to the boat. I put this thing on there so I could have a shut off. So when I hook this to the pipe that goes out from the bilge pump, the plastic tube that goes out from the bilge pump, I'll be able to control the water flow from here. Connector to hook the garden hose up to the tubing from the bilge pump, and the idea is to hook the hose up there and then turn the water pressure on and try to blow out any growth or anything that's been accumulating in the lines, whatever's clogging that line. Hopefully it's a little bit of growth, we push it right out. So I thought this plan was ready for execution, but the connector I brought is way too loose. It'll never seal. I don't care how big a hose clamp I use. It'll never really seal around there because it's obviously way too small. So I will need to go through our garden supplies at home and see if I have one with a different size piece here. And if I can get into a store later today, I will also look for the right size. Here the plastic one is the proper size and the metal one is too small, but that shows you the difference. So we'll put these in the pile of things to go back to the house to try to find the right fitting. Okay, shopping has returned to the boating world. So at the local boating store, I was able to get some wax and some of the biodegradable boat soap. That was good. Had my mask, my gloves. So I think I was doing the right thing. Although I was surprised people were walking into the store without anything. And I don't know. I'm going to err on the side of caution. I don't need this stuff until next weekend. I'm just getting ready. So I'm leaving everything out so that it can be out and not touching anything and not wet for a while. In case there's anything on it from the store. I doubt there is, but I don't need it till next week, so I can just take a moment to do this. Hey. So I didn't touch anything in the store. Worked out. When I was in the store, I looked for that plumbing connection that I would need to finish cleaning out the bilge pump tubing, but there was nothing like what I needed there. So I'll go back to the tried and true method, which is to go look through my garage and hope for the best. I think I figured out why nobody's here. There's no restroom open. So I guess I'll have to go home when it's time to take care of that. This hose has the best hand grip of any hose I ever had. It's got this plastic thing you slide up against the up at the end where a wrench would fit if you needed one. But it's really easy to sock in really tight, as long as you can get the threads to line up, of course. I hope the guy that invented it made out very well. With the retention chain for the cap broken, I'll have to replace that. I'm not sure how to get a screwdriver in there. I added water to the freshwater tank to show how the pump is supposed to behave. So, since I want to test this sink for leaks anyway, We'll use this one. So, might see the pump go on in a moment. Did I turn the pump on? I threw the wrong switch. Okay, here we go. So it brings the system up to a certain pressure and stops. Then we use the faucet. Pump should go on. There it is. And then, you know, I stop using it. It brings it back to pressure and quits. If I run slow, I'll get intermittent running of the pump. And then it should just stop. And it did. So I ran this paper towel around the drain and around the hot and cold water feed, and I don't detect any moisture, so I think we're good. Yay. One more thing done. To keep your water pump turned off when you're not using it. So this might be a stupid idea, but I put the plumbing snake in this box. This is what I call my oiling box. I put stuff in there so I can spray it with oil and not have any overspray land on the counter or anywhere else. So this is just a metal spring, really. A long coiled spring. So I thought maybe if I oiled it a bit, it might help it last longer. It's feeling a bit on the brittle side. As I said, it's probably a dumb idea, but I'll give it every chance I can. It's so nice to be able to finally rinse my hands after I do things. So I just had an alarming thought. So this seacock right here, you see the handle, trying to shine the light on it. So the handle is there, the through-hull fitting is there, and this hose right here. That is the raw water intake for the engine. And it comes back along here and then disappears under the floor. Boy, is it hard to show you. Anyway, it disappears under the floor and it reappears. So it reappears right here. It comes up there and around here and into the Oberdorfer pump. Syracuse, New York, huh? What do you know? Anyway, so one thing that just struck me, and I've been looking at this thing since August, so that's, you know, half a year. One thing that just struck me is that there's no strainer on the raw water intake. I have to find out if that's okay. I don't think it is, though. It really should be something where it would catch seaweed and little sea critters and whatnot and keep them from going into that pump. Because I don't imagine that you want things getting stuck in that pump. You know, the pump has an impeller, rubber impeller, and if that gets chewed up, the pump stops working. So we're gonna have to check the manual on that and see what's going on. And if not, maybe anyway we'll add one. But that's gonna go on the list. It's not gonna get done right now. But if we add a strainer, I think we'll add it here. Much better access than in the engine compartment. And we can put it near this one so that we could, you know, clean them at the same time. The thermometer says it's 50 degrees outside. The wind has to be blowing 15 knots with gusts probably up to 25. So it feels quite cold. And actually right now it's started to snow. Go figure. I don't know. Anyway, please consider subscribing. Hit the subscribe button down below. Hit like if you like the video. You can turn on notifications if you want to be notified when more episodes come out. leave comment if you have any questions or anything you want me to consider or cover in the future, or if you want to tell me what a good or bad job I did on describing something. And enjoy your spring. So it's 10 minutes later, and it's snowing and starting to accumulate on the ground. I imagine this is local phenomenon, because this is just surreal for this time of year. I guess that was very local, because about a mile north of where I just was, it's like it never happened. The sun's out. It's a beautiful day, once again. Good afternoon.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. So I hear you're working on... Oops, you just turned sideways. Oh, you're back.
You're sideways, so I thought I should be sideways too.
Okay. Let's do this over again.